previous class, we saw there is an operating system for a router. Not only for a router, if you take switch, a firewall, every device have got an operating system. It is not your laptop only have got operating system. If you take an electronic watch, even that watch has got an operating system. Simply, the software that drives. That's what operating system. Now, we learned that there is a memory called flash in which the operating system is kept in an image format, and every time you boot from flash, the operating system is loaded to a dynamic RAM. But if the router is already configured, that configuration also need to be booted. Where is this configuration kept? It is kept in another location called NVRAM. Let me draw it for you. You on the router, it copies the operating system. Not exactly copying. The image is extracted as a copy. From flash, where you have operating system in a file extension called DAT. It will be in an image format. That image will be there. No change done to it. Whatever the configuration that you make, the image never get disturbed. So the flash memory and the data in the flash memory remains always the same. The decompression of the operating system happens in dynamic RAM. This is we call as DRAM, where our running configurations are maintained. Running. Now, our configurations that you did yesterday, which you have saved, will be in NVRAM. So as the operating system gets decompressed, on the way it will go and fetch the configurations that we have made and display us with the configuration. Not simply the operating system, not simply the default skeleton of the operating system. Along with the skeleton, you will see some flesh and nails and hair grown like a human being. All your previous configurations. But what if the operating system is a dead old mummy? Which means no configuration done, no flesh, just a skeleton of the operating system. No configuration made, which means the NVRAM will be empty. When NVRAM is found empty, the first page as the operating system boots will have a question asking you, would you like to do the basic configuration using dialog? Yes or no? Let me repeat. NVRAM is the place where our old configurations reside. During the startup time, meaning whenever you start up the router, that NVRAM will be visited on the way. As the operating system get decompressed in DRAM, the control will go to NVRAM and say, hello, do you have anything to show? And if NVRAM gives something, those things will be added to the operating system. And now when you see the running configuration, you will see both operating system as well as our configuration attached to the operating system. If in case this is the fresh router, previously you have never configured anything in this box, or you might have configured and you did not save anything. If you don't save, then nothing will be there in NVRAM when it boots the next time. So either this or that, meaning what? It may be a fresh router, or you did not save anything to NVRAM. Or the third option is you have deleted everything from NVRAM before booting it. In all these three ways, the NVRAM is going to be empty. Only when NVRAM is empty, only when the controller finds NVRAM as empty. What is NVRAM? Non-volatile random access memory. What is DRAM? Dynamic random access memory. Only when the NVRAM is found empty, non-volatile RAM is found empty, there will be a question asked before you log into a router. There will be a question. That question won't be there every time you boot. Only if the NVRAM is empty, you will have a question. Do you want to use dialog configuration for initial configuration? Meaning, it is saying, see, I found nothing in this router. Would you like to use a dialog based configuration? What is dialog based configuration? It's a kind of wizard, template, wizard I can say, wizard is the right word, which will ask you one question after the other. And you need to answer one after the other. When you finish configuring through the dialog based, you will have your basic configuration done without you knowing any commands. So to use dialog based, you don't need to learn this course. Let me show you. This tool I will be sending you to your mailbox. It is also available if you Google Cisco Packet Tracer. You can download the latest one. You need to simply give an email address to download. And you see I'm bringing a router. And if you see the router is decompressing now. And you know this is a fresh router. There is no NVRAM utilized earlier. See? Continue with configuration dialog. This question will not come every time you load. It will come only if NVRAM is empty. It will come only if this router is not having any pre-configuration. And we will never say yes to this question. The reason is we are learning this course so that you can straight away put the commands as per your requirement. You can go and directly do the configuration that you want. If you say yes, what happens? It will ask you one question after the other. Even if you don't want to configure few things, you must give some answer. Only then it will take you to the portion where you want to configure. Hope you understand what. Say for example, I'm saying yes just for one time. Okay, I'll never say yes because this is not a friendly one. This is for those who don't want to learn commands. but they want to do some basic configuration without learning anything. So I'm going to hit enter. Look at this. It says, would you like to enter basic management setup? Okay. What is the house name? See, I have to give an answer for this if I want to go to the portion what I want to configure. Though I don't like to give a host name, you don't have an option. You have to give. Otherwise, it won't take you to the next question. This is the limitation of using this wizard. So I'm going to quit by Control C. Oof, I quit it. So when you say no here, this is what you will see. This mode is what called as user mode. Why it is called as user mode? You see, we will not leave the router unprotected. Definitely, the very first basic configuration that we are going to do will include the protection of the router. See, the routers are like the direction board kept on the roadside. They are like a direction board. You see? Asia, Middle East, Europe. So if someone twists this one, if someone slightly rotate this one, what will happen? Someone will think that Asia is in this side because this will go this side. This will come here. And Middle East will be pointing towards India. By the way, no one wants to come to India anymore because it's known as a country of rapists. That's what this government has got for India, these Indian leaders. Good. They need to keep it up, this nonsense. So when this is twisted, turned, now Asia is pointing towards Europe and Middle East is pointing towards India. And Europe is now pointing towards Dubai. This board is very important. If it is slightly twisted, people cannot go to the correct destination. Likewise, routers are the one which directs the packets towards destination, different networks. So you cannot allow this signboard to be twisted. You need to put a big concrete and make it very strong so that no one will twist, turn it around. It will be firm, so nothing can twist it. Even if a big lorry comes and hits it, it will remain same like a big rock. Likewise, you need to put a big concrete cement to the router so that no one comes and changes the configuration and redirect the packets to a wrong direction. Routers are the one which is showing the routes to reach various network destinations. If that router is not protected, the evil people in the internet, they will log into your router and they are going to change the direction of the destination so that whenever you try to go to HDFC Bank or Standard Chartered Bank or Axis Bank or any bank, your request will go to the attacker's network, the bad guy's network, and they will have one HDFC page there, the bank page, just same like a real HDFC bank. And what happened? You don't know that you are in a wrong HDFC, a fake HDFC server. And you start typing the customer ID, you start acknowledging the picture they gave you, you start giving the password, and then when you say login, it won't log in because it's not real HDFC page. So, but whatever you typed as a password, the user ID, the customer, they already captured the attacker. So you will think like, there is some network problem. That's why I'm not able to access the page. You don't know that this is because someone has redirected the HTTP, sorry, yep, correct. HTTP request to HTTPS request to HDFC Bank towards their own network, the attacker's network. You see, it's very dangerous. If you don't protect your router, anything can be done. Because today everything is over internet. Now, if you are protecting with proper password, user IDs, this mode will not appear for you unless you provide the password and the username correctly. That is why this mode is called as user mode. Let me repeat one more time. Listen. This is how a router will be. Let me restart this router. Off. See, now it is off. Device must be powered on. Okay. On. You'll see it is decompressing. Again, it is going to ask me the same question because it is fresh. I'm saying no. And then I simply go inside and say write to memory, meaning I'm putting some configuration in the NVRAM. Though I have not configured anything, I simply say write to memory. At least, I have utilized that NVRAM. Now I'm going to restart the router again. Off, on. So again decompressing. You see, this time it did not ask me the question. In the boot page, you can see the NVRAM is of this much size, and then the DRAM is of this much size. Sorry, this is flash. This is flash. This is the DRAM. All right. Now, it did not ask me whether to put initial configuration yes or no using dialog because there is at least some dot, at least something is there in NVRAM to say I have used it. And you see, this is the operating system that we have loaded from the flash memory. C1841 Advanced Service Pack K9 M version 12.415T1. You see, if the username and password is set, it will ask you here right after this line. It will ask you. After that, only you will see this, meaning after you provide the right username and password, only then this prompt will appear for us. That's why this prompt is called as user mode. Only a genuine user can see this mode. Let me quickly show you that. I'm going to set password. Username J, password J. Line console 0. Login. See, I have typed WR to save the configuration, and this is the username and password. Whenever I use the console port to log in. Now I'm going to switch off this router. Look at this. This blue port is what called as console port. This is the port through which we are getting this access to the router. You know, but this is a virtual environment. In the real world, this is how we access the router. We connect our laptop or a computer or a server to this blue color labeled port. This blue color labeled port is not a normal port where data transfer happens. This port is only for managing the device.
So we do set up only for like initial configuration, we take the console access.
Well said. Well said. You know, that is only for initial configuration. Then how you will configure the advanced configuration later. Usually we do telnet to the router, which will be to that yellow port. That yellow ports will have IP address to interact. To interact, you need an IP address uh, if you are interacting via that yellow ports, the Ethernet ports. This console port, even though it is looking like an Ethernet port, it is actually a serial port. This is only for interacting with the device directly without any IP address. It doesn't mean that you should not use it to do advanced configuration, but usually people will not configure all the time through this console port. Why? This room where these routers are kept, that sound, do you like it? You don't like it, right? But that will be continuingly annoying for 24/7. I just made that sound only for a second, which you don't like. It will be there for it will be there forever if you are sitting inside. As long as you are inside, you will be hearing that big noise which you cannot tolerate. I really hate sitting inside the room where the routers are kept. They usually call it as some people call it a server room, but mostly people will call it as data center. And also the temperature will be very low. I do like that, but I don't like the sound. It will be freezing temperature inside. So usually they don't allow you to take coffee or something inside, and you cannot stay there for long now because it's freezing there. To keep the devices up and running without getting tired, they have a very good air condition there. So in short, what I'm coming to say is via console port, you can configure the router at any time, any level of configuration, but people don't do that because to access through the console port, they need to go inside the data center. But to access through the yellow ports, that Ethernet ports, they can be anywhere in the network, outside the data center, or you can be in the second floor where the data center is in the fifth floor. So because they are cabled, network is wired, network is connected to all the floors of the building. You can sit in anywhere and put the IP address of this yellow port or this yellow port and log into the device. So now you can sit anywhere having strong coffee like Turkish coffee, which I always love to have, and you can configure the router.
I have a question. So,
Yes.
what will be the initial configuration that we do on the console board?
Okay. See, anything that you do through the console port is not an initial configuration, but just to make us understand why we need console port, they will say only the initial configuration we will do through console port. See, if you have a plan of accessing the router only through the console port, then the dialog is wrong. Initial configuration need to be done through console. That dialog is wrong. You can configure forever through console port if you are ready to um, do it. But as a good practice, we will not go and disturb the environment, the cooling environment in the data center very often. We will not be keep on opening the door, going inside, again coming back. It's like you keep your refrigerator open. That won't be nice, no? So there's a need for a temperature maintained in the data center. So they try to access from far outside the room. So what they do is they go inside the console port initially and put the IP address that is necessary for you to access from the outside, put the password that is necessary to access from the outside, and then they come out. And they don't go again unless there is some physical damage done to the wire or the router. Usually, if you don't go inside, there won't be any physical damage to the wires because people keep on going inside, coming, going inside, coming, like they want to access. Then only there are chances for they disturbing some other wires accidentally. So what happened?
So, the IP, just one more question, sorry.
Go ahead.
So, the IP will be configured for the Ethernet port, not the console port, right?
Yeah, console put no need any IP address. Even if you try giving it, it won't accept it. Um, it's a serial port. It's like a kind of a USB serial connection. It is. No, no, I'm not saying USB port. USB is also serial. Okay. What does USB stands for? Universal Serial Bus. That's a technology, serial technology. So, do you have any IP address to connect your pen drive, the thumb drive, the flash drive?
No.
No. As soon as you plug in, your thumb drive is identified likewise. When you connect a laptop to this port, they are identified, and now from the laptop you can access the router. Why do I need to connect the laptop? Because I need a monitor I need a screen, I need a visual device to see the router page. So I need to connect to the console port. Now, if I need to answer the first question, like what do you configure as initial configuration, then I will say we will put an IP address and password and username to log in from the remote via this Ethernet port. Via this Ethernet port, how do you log in? You have Telnet, you have SSH. Telnet, remote login. SSH is also remote login, but it is more secured because it encrypts the passwords, whereas Telnet won't do it. Telnet will not encrypt the password. SSH will encrypt the password. So if you are willing to SSH always to your device, then as the initial configuration via the console port, you will put an IP address and enable SSH. If you don't like SSH because it is too strong and for some it is very difficult to enable SSH. They don't know how to enable SSH. They are working for 5 years, 10 years in the networking field. I don't know. They don't know because it's little tougher for enterprises guys to learn. But again, I'm telling it's very easy. We'll do it in this class or next class. So what I'm going to say is, you need to decide how you are going to interact with your device. Those configurations you need to put via the console port, using the console port. Because the console port no need any IP address. You just log in, plug in your laptop there via a special wire called console wire, which will be flat blue in color. I'll be showing you in few seconds, a few minutes, and then you put the necessary configuration. Now, how does the console port look like? A console wire. Let me get it for you. This is how a console cable will look like, and if you see here, this is the end that goes inside the console port, the blue color port. And this is the end that goes behind your laptop or your computer. But not every laptop will have this port. This is called D9 connector. Not every laptop will have this port. My laptop has got it because when I purchased, I was very keen in buying a laptop which will have this. Older laptops, older laptops will have this. You don't need to check, but the new laptops you need to check. Most of the laptops won't come with the port to connect this. For them, there is an option. There is also USB instead of this D9. You also have a USB like this, you see, like this. So no worries. Your new laptops definitely have got this USB, but the older laptops, not the, no, the intermediate laptops. No, forget about my story. Every laptop has got USB port, so you don't buy this one. But I'm used to this one because I'm old in networking. On those days there was no USB port, floppy drive, hard drive, CD drive. On those days no USB was known to the world. Those days we used to use this. Uh, but still, people are very classic. They always use this. I don't know why, but you also got a USB. Use this one. This is better for you. Okay, so this is how you connect to the console port of the router. And then after you connect through the console port, you need a software to interact with the router. That is PuTTY. PuTTY is the tool through which you can telnet, SSH, you see serial. This is for console, say COM port, communication port. USB port is a communication port, or D9 connector is a communication port. You need to click on this and say open. If my laptop is really connected to a device via console port, I will see, but I'm not really connected. That's why system cannot find any specified. So it will definitely open for you this page if you are really connected to a router. All right, so let me on this. You will get this page as soon as you go to the PuTTY, which I showed you, and click on the serial. It'll show exactly what you are seeing now. Okay, so you see, I'm not allowed to see the prompt router, which we were seeing earlier. Earlier, we saw this prompt called router after this press return to start. But now you have that press return to start and there is no prompt. You need to provide a username and password correctly. Only then you are allowed to see time expired. Security. So only when you provide the username and password correctly, you will be seeing that prompt. Without seeing that prompt, how you will log in? You cannot move any more further inside the router if you don't know your username and password. Only a genuine user will know the username. He will say J as the username, password J. And now he see the prompt. You need to go to this prompt to go anywhere inside deep in the router to interact. Yeah. So this is what called as user mode, because a genuine user only can see this mode. Now, from this mode, what you can do, in this mode, you cannot do any configuration, but to an extent, you can see what is already configured. Again, I'm telling you to an extent, not completely. You can see every configuration. For example, to see all the configurations that is done to the router, we used to type show running. What is running? Show me all those configurations that is in the DRAM. If you go and check DRAM, then you see all configurations, right? That command will not work here. See, show is working, but there is no running there. Do you see any command called running? Running configuration? No. So only these commands are available for you to use in this mode. Show, you can say show arc table and show IP route. Even the routing table you can see. This is the command to see the routing table. See, this router is fresh router, that's why it is empty. Routing table is empty. Okay, so you can see few things, but not all things. In order to know the complete configuration, you need to go to another mode called privilege mode. You will be having privilege to see everything there. You need to get into privilege mode. This mode will not show you all configuration. That's why we don't call this as privilege mode. This is just user execution mode, or simply say user mode. User mode. User mode is this router at the router with greater than symbol. And then in order to get into the privilege mode, which is also called as enable mode, to go to that enable mode or to get into the privilege mode, I'm repeating again, enable mode and privilege mode both are same. To get into the privilege mode or enable mode, you need to type the command enable. And this is going to take you to the privilege mode. This is the prompt. This is how the privilege mode looks like. Right? So when you say enable, you get into this mode, privilege mode or enable mode. In this mode, you will see the entire configuration. Say, for example, here I am see enable. See, though the spelling goes like this, even if you type en, it understands. Let me come out again and show you. Listen. Now you see, there is only one command in the list available with en. So you no need to type enable. In order to turn on the privilege mode, you no need to type the entire word enable. If you type E, it won't understand because there are two commands starting with E. But when I type EN, it understands that I'm trying enable. Yeah. So you type enable or en or any incomplete, it is okay, but with the first two characters should be en, and hit enter. It will take you to the privilege mode. Let me do one more thing again. Listen. Now I'm typing en, and if I want to complete the word, all the characters, I can press the tab button. You see, tab button is above the caps lock in the keyboard. Caps lock. Left to the Q. Q as in queen. Left to the queen. Press the tab button. Look at this. Enable. I just pressed it. It completed the word for me. Auto filling, this is what called as. Yep. Boom. So you don't need to really do auto filling, but still you want to confirm what has been given as a command. You can press it. In the beginning days, you may need it. Later, you will not be interested in filling this. You will type en and boom, enter, like as I do. Okay, I'm in the privilege mode. I said in the privilege mode, you can see all the configurations that is done in the router. See, let me show you. Show running. You see the operating system. This is the skeleton of the operating system. This is the default name of the router, and this is what I configured. All other things are default. These are all the interfaces that you have. Fast Ethernet, VLAN interface. And then you remember I went inside line console and said login local, to enable authentication. This is what called as the skeleton of the operating system. And this is coming from where? From DRAM. If you want to see the startup configuration, to see the DRAM, I typed show running. To see the startup, START, show, START. Okay, I just typed STARTU and then tabbed. I pressed the tab button, it filled the remaining characters. This is going to be similar to what you saw in DRAM. Why, whatever is in DRAM is what we have saved. When I say WR, what I mean is whatever is in DRAM, the default skeleton along with the configuration. So I have configured the username J, password J, line console 0, login local, all the stuff, right? We have already pushed it into the NVRAM. That's what you're going to see. You see, same thing is coming. But the difference is this time it is coming from different memory. Okay. Let me quickly show you something. You see, I said host name, Abhi, and you see the name changed to Abhi from router. And now, if I type show run, sorry, not here. Show run means what? DRAM. You can see the name changed from router to Abhi, but I did not save the configuration. If I type show startup, it's still same old name router. But in the running configuration, it's not router, it's Abhi. Yeah. So you need to save it. Otherwise, when you reboot, see, I did not save. When I reboot, you will not see the name. Boom, boom, booting. Username is J. You see, this is old name. The changes that made is not saved to NVRAM, and NVRAM don't know it. When I reboot, it just gave me what was there before. right? So enable mode or privilege mode, which will show you all configurations that is done on the router. So the next mode is the configuration mode. Actually, the command is configure terminal. If you want to configure this terminal, means this router, you need to get into that configuration mode of the terminal, which is called config terminal. When you type this command, this will take you to configuration mode. Only there you can do configuration. You cannot do any configuration on the privilege mode or the user mode. You cannot. You cannot do any configuration in the privilege and the user mode. So in order to do configuration, you need to be where? In the configuration mode. Boom. This is how the configuration mode will look like. Even if you want to change the name of the router, see, if every router is having same name, router, then it will be difficult for you to tell someone, go to that router and configure. It will be difficult. If you have name like router 1, router 2, router 3, then you can tell, see, go to that router 10 and put this configuration. So naming a router is important. That is the very first work I always do as the basic configuration. Very first work. Because it helps to identify devices uniquely with a name. Okay, if you want to give a name, you cannot do that in privilege mode or in the user mode. This is the place. See, I'm going to say host name. This is the command. See, is there any space between host and the name? No, no space. So one word host name and give the name that you like. I'm going to give a name as R1. You see, router 1. See, the name changed. But again, it is saved only in DRAM, not in NVRAM. How do you save the configuration? For that, you need to come back one step. You need to come back to privilege mode. Listen. Saving the configurations or typing the show commands. Show me the routing table, show me the ARP table, show me running configuration. Anything that show will come only in the privilege mode. Here it won't work. You see, I'm typing SHOW. The command will not work here. Unrecognized command. But if you put the same command one step back, exit from here, exit, and now if you type here sh, it autofills. You know, it is not saying unrecognized command. You see, sh put question mark. It says there is a command called show here. So if you want to save, for that also you need to be in this mode, not in that global configuration mode. See, earlier we were here. You can type config t or configure t.
Do we have a mode called global
This is
configuration?
what global configuration mode. Configuration mode or global configuration mode, both are same. Rendo onnuda. Why it is called as global configuration mode? Because this name that you gave,
I'm not able to hear you anything. Sorry if you're speaking.
when you configure an interface, that is not global. That is also configuration mode, but that is not to configure globally, that is to specifically put some configuration under an interface. For example, I want to put IP address. Sorry, I want to put IP address to, wait, I'll connect a wire first. I want to put an IP address to this interface F00. So the IP address that I configure on F00, is it global? No, no, no. It is specific to the interface. But again, it is also a configuration mode because it allows me to configure the IP address. Whereas the configurations that are made here, like host name, setting password, those are all global. Those are all global for the entire router. It is not specific configuration for an interface. That's why to make it different, people used to call this as global configuration mode. And if you are going to an interface F00 fast ethernet 00, IP address 10.0.0.1, though it is also a configuration mode, this is not global configuration mode because you are inside the interface, if interface. Whereas here you are global. This configuration that you make here is for the entire router. The configuration that I did under this if is only for this interface. The interface, I'm going to bring it up. You see, this is red in color, right? I say no shutdown, meaning wake up, don't be red, turn green. Means I'm activating the interface. You see, it's turned green from red. Only that interface. But the other interface is still sleeping. I want to show you that. See, it's still sleeping. The no shutdown that I gave is only for F00, not for F01. So this cannot be a global configuration mode, whereas this one is a global configuration mode. So configuration mode or global configuration mode, both are same. Now, next. I also showed you the specific interface mode. Interface mode. Or for example, if you are configuring some routing protocol like OSPF, router OSPF1. See, this is router mode, router configuration mode. This is interface configuration mode. But usually people don't call with these names, interface configuration mode, router configuration mode. But I love to say it's a router mode so that you will know I'm inside that prompt, I'm inside that routing protocol. Router mode. Or you can also say routing protocol mode, interface mode, so that the listeners will be more clear when I say that. They will understand better. Okay, to save the configurations, you type WR. There is also another option. You can say copy running configuration to startup. The difference is when you type WR, it simply copies. But when you say copy running to startup, it will ask you, okay, whatever I am copying, should I put it in this name, the file name? Should I put it in this name or some other name? Any other name? If you have any other name, you can give that name here. Actually, that's not necessary. We usually hit enter because this name also looks good. Startup config. See, the same word, building configuration. Okay, the building configuration. The only difference is it is asking a confirmation. Do you want to save in this name, yes or no? If you want to give different name, you can give different name. 123 dot config. You don't need to even put config. 123 boom. Sorry, it's not allowed. 1 to ABC. ABC. Okay. Error copying to NVRAM. Why? Okay. ABC config. CONFIG. Sorry, this is a simulator. It's not allowing me to put anything inside the NVRAM other than the default. But the real operating systems do allow. When you come to high level, I'll be using different tools to teach, like in CCNP and CCI. You will see the real operating system where it works.
I have a
Yes,
question
please.
for you. So PuTTY is an application and Telnet and SSH are the protocols. Is it?
PuTTY is an application that can interact with the applications like PuTTY and SSH.
So SSH is also an
Yeah, of
application.
course, it works in application layer. Telnet works in application layer. Yes.
Okay.
Telnet and SSHs, they are all services that runs on a
Mm-hmm.
device from the application layer. So, though the port numbers are added in the transport layer, it is right from application layer. So, you use the application called PuTTY, which can interact with the application layer of the remote device and provide you this service.
Okay. So how does the SSH work? It's like a client and server or
Yes, kind of, because we are going to generate some crypto keys. All right.
Mhm.
You will be creating some public keys through which
Mhm.
the password is going to be encrypted and hashed, and hash value will be sent as a instead of password, and the server to which you are doing SSH, server or router, wherever. For example, this router, if you enable SSH, you can call it a server, nothing wrong. I don't use it, but you asked me with a server client relationship. You can definitely say that because this is a client which is trying to do SSH to this device, so this is a server. So this is going to provide the public key to this guy. Hey, you're trying to do SSH, use this public key and hash your password and send it to me. So this guy will hash the password and send it to this router. This router also knows how the hash will look like. So when the hash matches, it accepts this PC as a client and provides the relevant informations to show there. So you can say client server. Any question?
this is not related to the topic that we discussed
Mm,
today. I have one last question for today.
mm,
So if you are doing an image upgrade on a
mm,
router, we just copy that image in the
mm.
router and write it and reload it.
Okay, before you copy, you need to make sure you have enough space in the flash memory to copy the new image to which you want to upgrade. Now, before that, what you need to do is you need to check the compatibility of the image, the new image, with the series of router that you are upgrading. Not every Cisco operating system will work on all Cisco device. For every series, there is some specific operating system and versions there. So first check the compatibility with the Cisco's website, and then when you download from Cisco's website into your hard disk, now you need to copy this using a TFTP server to the router or a switch, whichever you want to upgrade, to the flash memory of the device. And now, when the flash memory don't have enough space, then you cannot copy. For that, what we do is we delete the old operating system and then we will have enough space now. Now you put you see, I showed you. The flash is not that big, you see. You see, the flash memory is not that big. Where is it? Currently, the flash has occupied this much space. It won't be too big, okay? So you cannot have two operating system. It depends again. Some operating system too will can be accommodated in this. It's in the kilobytes. But sometime in some devices you will not have two operating system fitting inside that flash. We delete the old one and we put this new one. After which you need to tell the controller to boot from the flash and the file name which is there inside the flash, the new file name. When you do that, it will start using that operating system from there on. Yes, Christian.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We will be doing this. I'll show you how to do all these things in coming class. But remind me.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
So in
sure.
our coming
Thanks.
class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to again do a recap of different modes. See, we have seen this mode is what called as privilege mode. It's not user mode. This is user mode. This is user mode. This is enable mode or privilege mode. This is global configuration mode. This is specific interface mode. And this is router mode. Yep. Show running will show you DRAM. Show startup will show you the NVRAM. And then in order to save, you can say copy running configuration to startup. And then you can also say WR. Right? These are the things that we saw today. Nothing more. Don't worry if you don't know how to set password and all. I have not gone to that side. I just used it so that I can show you the user mode. But I did not really teach you the line console or setting password, all the stuff. I'll be teaching you in coming days. So next class we'll focus on authentication, enabling authentication, the SSH, the telnet, the console, and then followed by upgrading the operating system, taking backup of an operating system. What if a router gets crashed? How we are going to recover it? All those things. What if I forgot the password? How I'm going to recover my router? All those things. I am sure that you already know how to recover a router when the password is forgotten. I was telling you in the previous class that you will bypass the NVRAM. But how to bypass, you may not know. Those things we will be seeing. Fine. Thank you so much.